Like I said, July 2nd is our cultural day or recreational outing, and hopefully as soon as we get back from that outing, parents will be waiting to get their beloved children. I promise you by that time you will be ready to see them leave, as will we as Upward Bound permanent staff. Um, there are occasions where parents can't get off work or can't have anybody come get their students, so they may actually make arrangements for them to leave campus before we actually leave for our recreational outing. That is 100% okay with me, and I'm sure by the end of the summer it will be okay with you as well. We have July 3rd in the morning. Usually we leave the day after the initial move-in day for anybody else who just can't make it on that day, and we make it till about 12 noon. So students will have to leave by noon on July 3rd, except for the bridge students who still have classes. On July 3rd, we have scheduled for UB counselors to move out of the dorms as well. We will have appreciated your service and your work and everything, but we need you to get out too. The very next week kind of has nothing to do with you guys. It's our community service or civic engagement week. Students have to complete 20 hours during this week in order to be eligible for the trip. There are a number of other criteria that students have to meet in order to be eligible to go on the summer trip. By the way, you'll be helping us out with monitoring that during the summer. Number one, students have to have an 85 or better in all of their core classes in order to be eligible for the trip. They have to complete those 20 hours of community service, and they have to have not been kicked out after the 3 strikes and you're out policy, which means that they have to have 2 or fewer strikes in order to be able to go on the trip. We'll talk a little bit more about our behavioral policy, or our discipline policy, and the 3 strikes and you're out process a little bit later. And then last but not least, the summer tour to Tallahassee, Florida and New Orleans, Louisiana is July 13th through 17th. I really hate to put this in your heads, but last year our counselors were actually able to go on our summer tour with us, and we had loads and loads and loads of fun. The only way they were able to do this was that there were some students who ended up not being eligible to go on the trip, and then there were some free seats in order for the counselors to take those. Right now, for the amount of students that we have, our bus is filled to capacity. But if by the end of the summer there are some things that happen, there may or may not be an opportunity for some counselors to attend. So just put that in your back pocket if you want to see FAMU or Florida State or Xavier or LSU or Tulane or a couple of the other colleges that we're going on. We have a really good tour coordinator that really sets up a really nice trip for us. So just bear in mind when you're dealing with the students that this really is an awesome opportunity for them, and they don't want to do or waste the opportunity or have the opportunity taken from them because of poor decisions. And next on pages 12 and 13, the moment we've all been waiting for, our summer daily schedule. Now, I'll try to answer as many questions in this video as possible, but please remember that Mr. Rashid is present, and if you have any other additional questions for me, you can always jot those down and make sure that we discuss those on tomorrow. Our schedule, Monday mornings through Thursday mornings, are the absolute same. Students wake up preferably before 8 a.m. to get to breakfast by 8 a.m. They have from 8 until about 8:50 to eat breakfast, and they just want to make sure that they make it, or you want to make sure that they make it here on time for their academic classes. Academic classes run every morning, Monday through Thursday, from 9 a.m. till about 12:15 p.m. Counselors are required to act as assistants in each of the classes. During your time today, you guys can make a schedule of when you want to take classes and how you want to rotate in and out. Usually in years past, counselors have made a schedule to where counselors have a day off to themselves. It usually works out that way. And you'll find that more classes need assistance or different classes need more assistance than others do. So it's not like you're chained to the desk or chained to the wall. Lots of times when counselors get students in their classroom and get them settled, they come in and use that time to vent to me. So you'll see that it all works out, and you can play that by ear. Lunch is at 12:30 daily, And then that's where things differ on our schedule as far as after lunch and the afternoon activities. Now on Mondays, if you'll see down here, it's actually at the very bottom. Our Monday afternoon schedule is as follows. From 1:30 to 3 o'clock, students are in Confit, and Confit is actually our online tutorial program. It has math and English, I believe. They're the only two subjects that are covered, but they're little mini workout sessions for the students. So they take an assessment and they see what level they're at, and then we give them a goal, each and every one of them, to make sure that they complete a certain amount of Confit assessments during the summer. That's also one of the factors that will allow them to go on the trip or keep them from going on the trip. And I'll explain a whole lot more about Confit on tomorrow. From 3:10 to 4:40, that's our class seminar time. That's the time that you guys have the opportunity to present seminars to our classes. Now, the way that it is scheduled at this time is that I will take the seniors, counselors work with juniors, and then Tom Holcomb from Roar works with our sophomores. You guys will have some time today to brainstorm and get together and see what kind of topics you want to discuss during the workshop, and I'll talk to you a little bit about that tomorrow as well. And then from 4 to 6 p.m. is a counselor group activity. Now, depending on you and your group and their interests, these are ideas that you come up with what you want to do with your students. If your students have homework and they want to go to the library and get it knocked out, take them to the library. If your students want to go back to the rooms and play a game, let them do that. This is your time to be with your kids, to bond with them, to whatever it is that you want to do with them. So be thinking about that, and we can talk about that a little bit more tomorrow as well. Now, if you'll skip back up one block, we have the Tuesday and Thursday afternoon schedule. Again, these activities occur after lunch. From 1:40 to 3:30 is the first block of classes. That's our journalism class. I believe someone has volunteered to run that. I don't want to say any names because I don't want to be caught being wrong. But if you are interested in running that class, we would appreciate it. And basically what students do during that hour is they go around and take pictures, and they produce a blog or newsletter for parents and students to view at the end of the program. So they talk about the field trips that we take. They're the ones that are always taking the cameras and reporting on where we go and what we do, introducing new students to the program, interviewing teachers, or just different things around town. We can talk a little bit more about that too if you decide to run that class. The theater and drama class will be at that same time. Our theater teacher is none other than Jonathan Cardell Sims. Y'all probably know him. He's a recent graduate of the college. We're happy to have him with us, and happy to have him working with students. And then during that block is also our music production class, which I am told is probably going to be more like a hip-hop lyrical analysis class with beats. And that's completely fine. That'll be going on during the 1:40 to 3:30 block. And then also during the 3:40 to 5:30 block is, of course, basketball in the gym. And then our debate class is held at that time, and then also our dance class. And on Tuesdays and Thursdays, students go right from their extracurricular activities and straight to dinner. And dinner is always at 6 p.m. Here it has 5:30 to 6. I'm pretty sure that's a huge typo. I have no idea why that's like that. You don't have to go at 5:30 and you don't have 30 minutes. So dinner's at 6 p.m. daily. Now, if you look on the next page, we have Wednesdays carved out or scheduled out. And that's the time where we usually take our cultural field trips. The first one is to James Island County Park ropes course. Students loved that experience. Counselors loved that experience. Students work on team building. They're outside. They're in the woods. Everybody gets all sweaty and stank. It's a really good time. And it's just a great opportunity for us all to bond as a staff with our students, and then for students to bond with one another. So we really are looking forward to that. We always take a bus to go wherever it is we need to go, unless it's in walking distance, which we will be walking. if that's the case. But we also come back, or we always come back by dinner time. So remember, just kind of look over this schedule, and we'll definitely set some things in stone tomorrow if you have any questions. And also remember that Rashid is there, if he's still there, James is there, and Sharnae is there. So please feel free to ask them questions about how the flow of our days go, so you can kind of get a better grasp of what we do. Page 14 just lists counselor contact information. Remember I asked you guys permission if I could share this. Most of the time, I would say 95% of the time, parents and students don't abuse your personal cell phone number. You might get a student or a parent calling you on a Sunday saying, hey, we're running late, or something like that, or hey, I can't find a park, things of that nature. They won't call you at 2 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday on your free time and be like, hey, Asia, what you doing? That doesn't happen. And you will find that it's really easy to keep in contact with your students if they have your cell number and you have theirs. Counselors have done little group meets where they tell their students, give them reminders for the week or reminders for the day, or say, hey, y'all, don't forget, we're meeting at such and such at 7:55 so we can walk to breakfast, things of that nature. And if you look on page 15, we have the summer residence counselor groups. As counselors, you're responsible for all the students at all times, but we thought it easier to break students up into groups so that you get better control over who's reporting to you and where they are and what issues they might have, and so you can get to know your students and help them as much as possible. We've also done a move-in schedule based on the counselor groups, and that's actually on page 18. Now, you guys have moved in today, and so you'll already be in and ready, but our counselor check-in procedures are as follows. I mean, you can read them. I'm not going to read them to you, but definitely pay attention to when your group is moving in. And since there's limited space right there in the front of Liberty, and I'm pointing now because I'm in my office and it's not going to make any sense to you right now, but the little side street right in front of Liberty, there are a couple spaces that we have reserved, but because everybody can't park in them, then we have to move in shifts. There are some forms that some students are missing that they need to turn in, so be aware parents might be turning those in to you. Just give them to Amira or give them to me or Rashid or somebody, and we'll get those taken care of and filed in the proper place. Also on Sunday evening, which I failed to tell you guys about, every Sunday evening we have some instruction of some sort. This year we're focusing on health and wellness, so every Sunday evening we'll have a different fitness class. The first Sunday we are doing Zumba. Second Sunday evening we're taking a Latin dance class. And the third Sunday we are learning the art of cupware. Should be interesting. You know whose idea that was. Anyway, so that's another way for students to get a different type of instruction, but for us to have a little bit of fun as well. So every Sunday evening, students will be moving in around the 6:15, 6:30 time. So that's what time you will need to be there as staff to just assist with the move-in process. Again, I won't be there at the very beginning of the move-in process on Sunday, but Mr. Lassane will be here, Fran will be here, Amira will be here, Rashid will be here, and everybody will be fine. So Sunday evenings are taken care of. I think that's all. We're actually also purchasing dinner on that Sunday evening. It will probably be pizza. I'm going to go ahead and tell you that because it's the quickest, easiest, most economically savvy thing that we can do, and it's fine, trust me. I don't think that there's anything else that I want to talk. I'm playing. There is something else I want to talk about. Students will receive their keys, their room keys, on Sunday when they move in. It is my suggestion, because students often lose their keys, that when they check out on Thursday, that they return their keys to you. We have these little dots, these little colorful dots that you can have and put your students' initials on the keys. You can separate them. I say you take them up, keep them in a bag, give them back to them on Sunday when they move in. Because we don't want our students paying $80 for a lost key, because we are not going to replace those. Another note about move-in, I know that some of you have some other obligations, some other jobs and whatnot, and if that in any way conflicts with move-in on Sunday evenings or move out on Thursday evenings, that's fine with me, as long as you are making sure that your students are taken care of by one of your teammates. I know you guys don't know each other really well now, but I promise by probably the first week, you guys will have gelled together so well that you will be a great team, and you won't have a problem telling your teammate, hey, I'm going to be running late. I'm not going to get there till 7 o'clock. Here are my keys. Can you make sure my kiddos are checked in and get their keys from you? Which would be a great time for you to use the group text message and say, hey guys, get your keys from James today, or get your keys from Tanya today. I really desire that you guys work together and that you're a team and that you handle stuff like that. I'm not a micromanager to the point where I'm saying that you got to be there at 6:30. If your job is running over, do what you got to do. We'll cover you as a team. Please, guys, make sure that you're jotting down any questions that you may have. Again, I'll address them on tomorrow. And that's really all I have for today. You're going to receive some more instruction from some other people, and then there are some items on the agenda that I'd like for you to complete today. But until I see you tomorrow, have an awesome day, and thanks again for being here.